What do you believe is the most important thing in that next job? I mean, for some people, if I ask them the question, they may come back and say, well, salary is number one. I've heard even as simple as location, and this is often from people that have been, commuting an hour and a half or 2 hours one way. It could be a work-life balance. It could be working with great, awesome team members, wonderful team members. It could be just simply feeling like you've been recognized for a job well done. But here's my question. If you were to take all of these elements and any more that you can think of, and you were to put them all together, and if you could somehow just wrap them around you like a coat or a jacket, would your job then be considered your calling? My name is Bill Benoist. I'm a certified professional career coach here in Silicon Valley, and what I want to talk about today is really how to identify your calling in life. We often hear this, sometimes it's kind of a buzzword. It's like, oh, I'm following my calling, I'm following my passion, I'm finally found my calling in life, doing what I love to do. How do you actually find that? I mean, is it based upon everything I just mentioned and more, or is it something else? Well, there's been a lot of research in this area through positive psychology. Now, positive psychology is a recognized branch in psychology, and actually the founder of positive psychology is Dr. Martin Seligman. And one of the things that I think is really kind of neat about Dr. Seligman is that whereas a lot of the other founders of different branches of psychology have long since passed on, Dr. Seligman is still active out there. I believe he's in his 80s now, but the thing about this is that this is a recent branch of psychology, but it's something that is valid out there, and it is really studied mostly at Penn State University. And why I say this is where Dr. Seligman has worked for many years and developed different areas of positive psychology, one of which is something called the Authentic Happiness website, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But essentially what Dr. Seligman has done is he identified 24 what he calls character strengths. So these are a little bit different than what I would say the Gallup Strength Finder assessment of signature strengths. Character strengths are actually defined as positive parts of your personality that impact how you think, feel, and behave. And so again, Dr. Seligman, 24 different character strengths. He has said that we all have all 24 of these character strengths at some degree or another, with the exception of maybe a couple of narcissistic managers that we've all worked with over the years probably. But for the most part, we all have some degree of each one of these character strengths. It's a matter of, are we using our top character strengths? Are we using them, putting them to work every single day and in different ways? And what other studies have shown is that not only if you're just using a couple of these character strengths in your daily work activities, and by the way, I'm talking about career right now, but this could be talking about marriage, parenting, friendships, all different areas, aspects of your life. But the key is, if we're using, let's go back to career for just a moment. If we are using, our top character strength as something daily in our life or our work, it's going to lead to, greater happiness, greater productivity, greater job satisfaction. But this is where it really starts making a difference, and where some of the research has led us to find, and that is if we can use our top 4 character strengths, and we use each one of these top 4 a little differently every day, that it can actually lead to that job being considered our calling. That's how happy that we can become with our job. So let me show you how this works. Let me head over to AuthenticHappiness.com website. So here we are on the Penn State web page. Authentic Happiness, this is where it resides. If you've not been here before, what you want to do is you want to register an account. So you're going to click on Login and then click on Register. There's some information here that you're going to need to fill out. I actually use my email address as my username. It's going to ask for some other information, and essentially they're not going to spam you. And again, this is 100% free, but they're asking for this demographic information because they're always extrapolating different reports for the assessments that people are taking. Once you have this done, go ahead and log in. And one of the cool things about this site is that it keeps a history of your assessments. So, I started taking some of these assessments back in 2012, like the VIA survey of character strengths, and it still has my results there. And I can see that they haven't really changed much over the years. But you have that option. But all of the different assessments, all of these are available to you. So it's a great way to really kind of measure what I would say your improvement if you're practicing what you learn through positive psychology. And a lot of that could be, just practicing gratitude and meditation, savoring, stuff like this. But the VIA survey of character strengths, 240 questions. So you see, starting off with, I find the world a very interesting place. That's very much like me. I always go out of my way to attend educational events. I don't go out of my way, but I'll attend them, now and then. So it's a neutral. I always identify the reasons for my actions. Not all the time. Being able to come up with new and different ideas is one of my strong points. That's like me. And go through this. So 240 questions. What I found is that the surveys or the assessments, they take about 35 to 40 minutes. So here you see that I am coming up to the end of the assessment. I only have a few more questions to answer. I did start the timer on this. I went ahead and jumped forward, but I did start the timer, and it's taken me about 35 minutes. I haven't pushed myself or anything for this video, and in just a moment I'm going to show you what the results are, which I'm going to be a surprise just as much as you, because this will be the first time that I'm seeing them since the last time I took the assessment was several years ago. So I'm going to go ahead and click on finish, the button finish there, and let's see what we got. So here we are. My top strength, kindness and generosity, is my number one strength. Number 2 is gratitude. Number 3 is modesty and humility. 4, capacity to love and be loved, and fairness, equity, and justice. These are my top 5 strengths. So what I would want to do is take these top strengths and I want to implement them every single day. So we know there's 24 character strengths. We know that each of us has every one of these character strengths within us. It's just a matter of degrees, what we have for each one of these strengths. So, for example, my number 1 character strength is kindness and generosity. Your character strength may be something completely different. In fact, I'm sure it is. Your kindness and generosity may be number 15. It could even be number 24, or it could be number 2. These character strengths are what make us who we are today, in not only in career, but in our relationships as well. Remember I said that, once you recognize what your character strengths are, if you start putting these into action, regardless if it's career or personal life or parenting or friendship or whatever you want to do, that is going to significantly improve your happiness. But with career and what we're talking about, not only your happiness, but your productivity and simply your job satisfaction. So let's take a look at mine a little bit more closely. So as you see here, my top strength, what I mentioned was kindness and generosity. It essentially says that you are kind and generous to others, and you're never too busy to do a favor. You enjoy doing good deeds for others, even if you do not know them very well. And that really nails it for me. My second strength is gratitude. Third strength is modesty and humility. Fourth strength is capacity to love and be loved. My fifth strength is fairness, equity, and justice. And it goes on. I mean, my sixth strength, forgiveness and mercy. My seventh strength is perspective, wisdom. I'm going to stop right there, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But as you see, going all the way down, these are how my character strengths are ranked. And if we go all the way down to the very bottom here, my weakest character strength is self-control and self-regulation. And I'm embarrassed to say, but that is spot on. I'm going to say that for another video, how I deal with that. But the bottom line is that your results are going to be a lot different. Now, I said that I was going to stop at number 7, and the reason for that is, well, there's been a lot of research that's come out of positive psychology. One of the things that they found, and why I'm going over this assessment in this video, because I think it's really important, but what they found is that if you can use just one of your character strengths, one of the top 7, and that's why I stopped at 7, one of the top 7 character strengths every single day, but a little bit differently each day, well, you're going to increase your job performance, your job satisfaction, your productivity, your happiness. But this is what I think was really key in the research. And what they found was that if you were to use the top 4 of your top 7, and you use all 4 of them every single day, but something a little bit different each day, you're not only going to increase your productivity and your job satisfaction, your happiness, you may actually find that you found your calling at work. I mean, this is what the researchers have come up with. So I do recognize, and this is something that's really important that I think I need to bring up, I do recognize that you may not have the ability to use your top 4 or even possibly one of these. Hopefully you can't, but you may not have the ability to use your top 4 out of your top 7 character strengths at the position that you're in right now. But if you're in career transition or you're looking for another job, I would highly encourage you to actually take this assessment again, going back to what I said in the very beginning. It's 100% free. But learn a little bit more about yourself. Identify what your top character strengths are. And then when you're interviewing, when you're looking at that next job, ask yourself, will you be able to implement your top character strengths into that position? And if not, you know what? It may be something to reconsider that position and move on to the next one. And I know that can be hard to do if you're unemployed and you're looking for a new job. But, 70% of the workforce out there is suffering from Sunday night blues. And this is a great opportunity to, not be part of that 70%.